Kevin Roth here of RotoGrinders, and today we're going to talk about the RG Discord. If you're not a member, you should be. It is a fantastic community and resource that RotoGrinders provides, and it's easy to join as well. All you have to do is click the Discord icon on RotoGrinders or go to rotogrinders.com/discord. From there, you'll either sign up if you're new to RG, or if you're already a member, just click the link at the top to go to the sign-in page. Once you've logged into your RG account, you can be taken to Discord to log in there. Once you've connected those accounts, you won't have to leave the server. You can freely close out and reopen Discord without ever having to reconnect. The idea of Discord might be a little bit daunting to you, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Whether you're on mobile or desktop, the far left side will show you the Discord servers that you've already joined. Then next to that, you'll see the channels within that Discord. We have both free channels like Chiefs Prop Shop and our daily sport channels. And we also have premium channels like Blender's Game Theory or the Crunch Time channels. Premium members can see the difference between the free and premium channels by looking for a padlock icon next to the premium channel names. We also have a few pointers for new and experienced users alike. If you're having trouble finding a channel, make sure that you haven't collapsed the section that the channel is in. Collapsing a channel will only allow it to appear when there are unread messages in that channel. Also, we find that using the actual Discord program works better than opening it in a browser like Safari or Chrome. Lastly, if you're having trouble with one of our tools, your RotoGrinders account, or any other technical needs, you can hop in our feedback and help section of channels to get help from one of our wonderful support and moderation team members. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter at RotoGrinders or email support@rotogrinders.com. See you in Discord. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time special show here. We got a late show. We got a free show. Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube. And as always, joined by a couple of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. Andy Means. What up, Means?
Yeah, not much. Been a different day after yesterday because I knew today was going to be low-key. I knew it was going to be late. So just kind of soaking it in because I don't think we're going to have too many of these the rest of the regular season. The DFS slate's kind of blah, but the actual basketball games tonight should be awesome. I cannot wait to haul ass off of this show and go watch this Brooklyn Philly start because I already know they're giving Simmons some crap. He's out there now, so
many boos. Oh, yeah. It's going to be phenomenal. Yeah, looking forward to that as well. And then we got Chief coming in with the Hot Flames GPP takes. What up, Chief? How you doing, man?
Listen, I'm good. I don't know what kind of Hot Flames GPP takes anybody's going to get today. It's 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I think I could give them hot today would be to fade all the big guys and just play the bench. And you're not going to win that way. So I'm not going to tell you to do that.
Bro, we don't want hot flames that are not going to help people win. Those are not hot flames.
That was a hot flaming bag of something.
Yeah.
That's
right.
hot garbage.
Here's a nice piece of,
but honestly, there's
don't
always
put it out with your boots,
something
Ted.
crazy. Yeah. Always something crazy that happens on these 2 gamers. And
that's true.
You get the right guy that's 12% owned versus 38, and you got yourself a winner. You're a winner.
All right. Well, that's what we're going to work on. A few things to touch on really quickly before we dive into the content. Since this is a free show and a lot of people are watching on YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button for us. It's free content. And all we ask in return is for you to click a little thumbs up thing. We also have the Fanduel single entry series ongoing right now, which is something that RotoGrinders does. It's fantastic because single entry is the only way that I have ever won anything. So I recommend you get in on that. And then last but not least, the Scores and Odds and FanDuel Sportsbook is up in Wyoming. I know we've got a lot of Wyoming viewers watching right now. So the FanDuel Sportsbook is open for business, and all you got to do, you check out scoresandodds.com, and then you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's pretty good. So if you're in Wyoming, by the way, did you know there are 2.2 times as many cattle in Wyoming as people?
Of course, everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. I Googled it. I was like, I wonder if there's more cows than people in Wyoming. And there is indeed. Now,
that'll wrap up the show. That'll wrap it up.
And that'll do it. We got everything we need to know.
Delete. That's all, folks.
Yep. All right. Hey, with that, with me having dropped all of my knowledge bombs, I think it is time for us to dive into the slate. It means let's talk a little FanDuel cash or a little zoom out, although there's not much to zoom in or out on since it's 2 games. Yeah.
The only zoom out is we have 3 questionable guys or 4 technically for Denver. So, it matters. Like, there's no way to talk about it because there's 4 of them. So, like, all Barton and Bones and Jeff Green were out last night. They're questionable along with Zeke Najee. So, the main one there is Barton because, believe it or not, Jokic can actually be even better per minute when Barton is out. So he's the key one. Just got the starting lineups for the first game, which is as expected. So yeah, not much to zoom out on other than it's 2 games, and that the questionable stuff is the late game. So it is a headache in that regard, but we'll see.
Okay. Well,
I'll jump into FanDuel.
Yeah, and let me give people kind of like a skeleton outline just so that they know what's happening if they're new here. We're going to start with FanDuel Cash with Meansy. He's our cash guy. Chief's going to give us some FanDuel GPP takes. Then we'll go over to Meansy for DK Cash. Then Chief, if there's anything different with DK pricing-wise, GPP takes there. And then we're going to close the show out by answering all your questions. So if you are in the RG Discord where it says live stream chat, you can drop your questions there, and I will try to answer as many as humanly possible. Means?
I will not be long on either of these, much shorter than I usually am, just because there's such a small player pool and not many decisions to make. And that's especially the case on FanDuel. And I'll start at center, point blank. You're playing one of Jokic or Embiid. That's it. It's hard to figure out who it is. I think I wrote an article this morning that I think we're like maybe 1 or 2 minutes high on Embiid's median minutes projection. So like, I think he should be like 34, 35. And you also have the little dangling carrot out there of maybe Barton sits, which would make Jokic's projection even better. So regardless, I think I would play Jokic. So long story short, you're playing one of those 2 guys. So then moving down to power forward, Looney for sure. Aaron Gordon is the one who's popped up the most in my builds for this other power forward spot. I think KD is in play, but we'll talk about guard, where I think your next spend is at both guard spots. So like if you're not doing that, then yeah, you play KD, but I think you do Looney and Gordon, and the other guy here would be Bielitsa, who's like, none of these guys are good plays. They're just good plays because they're better than other plays. So it's the nature of the slate, and we got to take some negative values, and Bielitsa would be one. I prefer Gordon. Going down to small forward, where you can play Harden here, or you can play him at shooting guard. Tybal has been the guy who's popped up the most in my builds. Cheap, no Danny Green, but like, again, not some good value or anything. It's just, that's the slate. I also like Will Barton if he plays 4-9. I would rather play him than Kuminga. And obviously you can make that call later tonight, depending on the news, assuming you have the $200 if you're like flipping between those guys. But that's who I'd be picking between. But yeah, those. So again, that's if you put Harden at shooting guard. But if you put Harden at small forward, let's go down to shooting guard and look at where who else we're going to be playing here. I have Clay tagged. I think you got to play him in cash. You have Harden, who you can use here. You have Moses Moody at 4-3. You have Seth Curry at 4-6, and you have Barton here also at 4-9. Like, though, I think those are the cash game options tonight. Shooting guard, and then point guard. I think Curry is probably one of your next guys in, just because, I mean, obviously he hasn't been as good lately. He's not as good of a per minute player when Clay plays. Clay's missed like, I don't know, 3 games in the last handful. So, but Clay's playing tonight, obviously, and Curry is appropriately priced, we'll call it. But I still think when factoring this way, I think he'd be one after I put in the center you want. I think he'd be the next guy in. So that's why when I saw about all their plays throughout here, I was talking about like 3K guys, 4K guys, because that's just kind of what the slate dictates. Another point guard I'll mention is Goran Dragic. Mentioned in the article this morning that I think there's like one of 3 ways his minutes goes, and it depends on if he closes either half. Like if he doesn't close either half, he's going to play like 20, low 20s. If he closes both halves, he's going to play like 27, 28, like he played last game. And if they only let him close like one, then he's going to play in the middle of that. So we put him at 24, which kind of middles those scenarios. And he's been pretty decent per minute for Brooklyn. So like him, if you have the money, I would prefer to get to Monte Morris, and you also have the added equity of some of those Nuggets guys sitting out. So that's what I'd be doing for sure. Put in Steph, trying to get Monty, fine with Dragic. Oh, and also mentioned Seth Curry. I don't know if I mentioned him at shooting guard, but like purely it's like, this is the last guy in my lineup. I'd play him. So that's it.
Okay, great. Let's talk some tournament takes. Chief, I kind of want to start at center. Anytime Meamsy says something like, there's only these 2 dudes, first I want to know, which one do you like? Or is there another dude for tournaments that you're like, all right, everybody's on these 2 dudes. I want this guy way down here.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Embiid and Jokic is tomato, tomato, potato, potato. In my opinion, either one is going to be fine. The problem is it's a 2-game slate. So whichever one scores the most points is probably the one that's going to be in the winning lineup, unless they're like 58.3 and 58.2 or something like that. I think for me in tournaments, especially on small slates, what I like to do is eliminate the high-owned guy that doesn't have as much ceiling. So for me, that's Kevon Looney. He gets automatic X today. Like 0 tournament lineups for Kevon Looney. Ooh. And it's only because we got him at 71%. It's a 2-game slate, so I get it. But like that's where I want to kind of try to get around the field, right? If I can fade Looney and he ends up with 19 fantasy points tonight, and that hasn't been his trend, right? He's been in the 20s. But I'm saying which one of the high-owned guys is most likely maybe to not get there. For me, I think it would be somebody like Looney. We've got Matisse Thybulle at 3,900. Might be a necessary evil, but he's another one pushing 40% on a 2-game slate. I do want to preface this. I understand it's a 2-game slate, but those are the 2 guys I think for me where it's like, okay, get rid of them completely. And now I'm automatically, if those guys tank tonight, I'm in a really good position to be successful against the field because I don't have any of them.
Yeah.
So that I wanted to start there because everything else is going to be pretty similar to, in my opinion, cash games. Similar, right? Now, tonight is a night where I take some chances on an overpriced Bruce Brown playing 27 minutes. No, it's not a great play. It's not anything near optimal. But you're saying, okay, if Bruce Brown gets 34 fantasy points tonight, does it help me or hurt me, right? Who else is going to pick up 34 fantasy points? Who else is going to get really close? So see a guy like him at 7%, he goes off for 40. Now I've got a shot, right? I've got an outside shot to say, okay, I may have a chance to really hammer the field here, especially when, even though they're at 2 different positions, Tobias is coming in closer to 30, at least in projections. So as you can see, I'm kind of trying to flip-flop some players, get rid of some guys, and then try to put together a quality lineup, that could possibly be a winner. I think most of the cheap guard value, which we're not going to have the news right now, but it rests in this Denver game because, if Barton's out, then you get access to, an Austin Rivers or, a Bones Highland, something like that. And not that they're great plays, but, that's where some of your value will open up. And especially most, let's go 5, 4, 5, 6 lineup guys, they're going to be playing a lot of the early game because they won't have the news and they won't know. And so if you've got a chance to pick up some ownership, later on, then, I think that'll give you a route to do that. I probably would, in terms of lock buttons, I think Klay Thompson's probably the lock button tonight at 5,700. going against the Nuggets, good price. I mean, he gets over 30 fantasy points on this slate. I mean, he's probably one of the best values in my opinion of the night. So that's kind of what I would do. I'd also side with Kyrie over Curry. And it's the same thing. Curry's getting about 60% and Kyrie's around 37. And they both got equal upside considering the spot. Curry's price is way better, of course, but just kind of flip-flopping those two as well. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this slate. And that is how I'm approaching the slate. Excuse me, want to make sure you guys know what I'm doing. I'm not playing Kevon Looney. X button. Not playing Matisse Thybulle. X button. Flip-flopping Curry and Irving, and then kind of waiting around to see what's going to happen with this value in Denver. Hammering a guy like Bruce Brown over Tobias, right? And then making sure I lock in Klay Thompson. That's kind of my strategy for this 2-gamer.
Okay, that was crystal clear, and I like that. There was not a lot of he and haw in there. This is
stuff.
it. Yeah, I'm Xing this dude. I'm locking in this dude. I love that. All right, Means, let's switch it over, talk some DK Cash. Yappy already is asking about Thybulle in DK Cash. I don't know if you mentioned him on FanDuel. I was busy looking up how many states have more cattle than people. It's 9, by the way. But let's go ahead and talk some DK.
I bet they're all that way.
There's a few in like Oklahoma is one, which
yeah.
surprised me.
I just know it's all west of me. It's all,
right.
All in your neck of the woods are off.
All right, DK.
Yeah, DK. I'll get there, Yappy. So I hate to sound like a broken record because I wrote about this morning, but on DK, I mean, 3 of the best plays on the slate only have center eligibility, so you can only play 2 of them. Mm-hmm. I think I have Jokic and Looney tagged. I think you play those 2. I would not argue one single iota if you took out one of those guys for Embiid. So again, starting with center because that's the discussion for me. So we can move on to everything else. I'll just circle back to guard. I think because of that, like if I had a double utility spot, I would put Embiid in it. But because I don't, I think the next player I'm putting in would be Harden. So I prefer Embiid for the dollar, but that's not the game we're playing tonight. We have positions. So I think he's the next guy in your lineup. He has point guard, shooting guard, which helps. I'm just going to look at both point guard and shooting guard for the rest of this discussion. 2 guys who are cheap that I've found myself playing a decent amount of are Moody and Dragic. They're 3.5 and 3.6. You can play one or both of those guys in cash games. I like Monty Morris at 4.7. Jordan Poole at 5.2. Those are the main. Then I'll say Klay Thompson as well, just because you might land there. Those are the main guys that have guard eligibility that are in my cash game pool. And again, Harden is probably the next guy in. So I don't know. That's about four or 5 guys. Yeah. So that settles the guard position. Small forward, Thybulle, yes, you can play him. He's 3.4. You're not going to enjoy watching him play if you like fantasy stats. You're not going to enjoy watching if you're falling on your phone and just watching the DK live app.
That's how I roll.
Is he out there? Ooh. Is he out there?
It's a slow burn. It's like Snell. It's just like, you going to do anything? Something?
that. Matisse Thybulle just texted me, said, that's effed up, Roth. Did you just compare me to Snell?
Sorry. There's nobody like Snell. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's definitely in play. And
Tony
like,
Snell.
if you just look, it's Tony Snell's face. Yeah. There's some decent stuff at power forward, I guess. So like for Thybulle, yeah, you can play him because the position's awful. Him and Moody are there. Aaron Gordon, Klay Thompson, I already mentioned him at shooting guard. So honestly, I think Tybulle's one of the first guys in strictly because of this eligibility. I mean, you can make a case that you play Moody over him. But maybe you're playing them in shooting guard. So yeah, you're playing a handful of these like gross 3K guys just strictly because that's what the slate dictates. So power forward, like I would say probably my next favorite guy to put in is Kuminga or Bielitsa or both. You can put Kuminga in a power forward, put Bielitsa in at the forward spot. Boom. those guys are, when compared to the other value, cheap value, I think those are two of the better ones. I'm done. Like I did center.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Again, Chief, I want to start at center because when Meansy talked about, look, there's 3 guys he's interested in, and 2 of them are Embiid and Jokic. Like right off the bat, can I start with that if I'm building GPPs? Can I Embiid Jokic this, or is that crazy?
I think you can. Which DK, and this is now taking me back to a lot of my Slate IQ days a few years ago. DK is more of a stars and scrubs build mostly anyway.
Sure.
So I don't hate the double center approach where you're essentially saying I have the 2 highest upside guys on the slate and I just want to get them both in. And if they both get 60, great. If one gets 80, if one gets 65, even better. If both go for 100, I win. Right. So that's kind of and then if both fail, a failure for them is like 48 fantasy points, and they're probably both going to get at least 50. So I don't hate that strategy. I meant to mention this on FanDuel, and I'm going to mention it for DK, but I still think it's applicable. I know Niang is going to play a lot less minutes than Matisse Thybulle, but I'd be perfectly fine swapping those 2 as well. Especially on DK, Thybulle's 34, Niang's 33. Like there's $100 difference. Are you telling me Niang can't outscore Thybulle? He absolutely can. So I like flip-flopping those guys around. I'm going to have the same strategy in terms of Kyrie versus Curry, especially when now it's just $100 difference. So I'm with that. And then, of course, I talked about the lock button on FanDuel for me being Klay Thompson. Lock button for me on DK is actually Bruce Brown at 5,100. I'm hitting the lock button, and
you see his ownership? He's like 2%.
That's what I'm saying. I will make them prove to me that Bruce Brown isn't going to score at least 28 fantasy points tonight because of his peripheral stats. This is a guy that he's probably not going to score more than 15 points, but I don't care about that. What I'm hoping is he gets 6 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists, 2 blocks, a steal. If he does that, I'm running to the bank. So I was actually really shocked, getting ready for this show to see Bruce Brown at 5,100 at 2% means that's got to be wrong, right? Like I just can't see him being 2.5%. I think that's wrong, but I still want to hit the lock button.
I mean, the reason it's that low is because people just use projections so much now, and projections aren't buying what he's been doing lately because it's so much of it has been like really, really good shooting. And then just maybe the rebounding's real because that's harder to fake, like he's getting, you get the rebounds or you don't. So I don't know. I think projections are a little slow to catch up to him, and ownership, generally speaking, just really leans heavily into that. So will he be 2%? Probably not, because of that game log. I bet he'll be under 10 though.
Yeah, I mean, I can dig that. He's 7 on FanDuel at 6,900. I'll give him 7. Yeah, I'll give him 7. And then of course, I think Goran Dragic is really valuable on DK where he's 3,600. Like this is where I want to get the Dragic exposure. It's not that I wouldn't play him on FanDuel either, but on DK at 36, I really like him a lot. If you want to get even more different on this slate, and hear what I'm saying out, I'm not saying. On a 2-game slate, you got to have some of these guys sprinkled in your build, especially if you're running 150. Like a Nick Claxton on this slate is somebody that can play 20 minutes and pick up 25 fantasy points, right? He can fall into it. Now, I do think Harden not being there has hurt his limited minute production, right? Because Harden would just give him assists at the rim and he'd get easy buckets. Sure. But I still think you sprinkle him in. We've got him at 9% and Bruce Brown at 2%, which, God, that just makes no sense to me. The more I sit here and think about it, this is atrocious. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I would be doing. And then we're in the same scenario here in this Nuggets game. We're just kind of sitting around twiddling our thumbs, making sure that Will Barton takes the court tonight. Whether he plays or doesn't play, I still think there's value in Monty Morris at 4,700, whether Barton's there or not. Like that's a really good price for a guy that's going to play, 30 minutes at least. So that's where I am there. Jordan Poole's 5,200, but the ownership is reflecting that he's a much better value on DK as well.
Okay. Anything you want to add over on DK? We still have 6-7 minutes for QQs.
I got something.
Oh yeah, means
just for the people who are watching maybe for the first time or just are watching the free show. I was looking at it earlier, but we have this we have something basically called like if then or what if projections. Yeah. So we show what our projections will generally look like if someone gets ruled out. We only have one up for today. We just decided Barton was the most important, but like yesterday we had like 4 or 5 up. And it kind of gives you, especially for the late games, like it gives you a good idea of what to expect when you're messing around in lineup HQ to see what to expect from a value perspective if news does break a certain way. And obviously all the other stuff I've had up on the share screen, like our projections and whatnot, you'll get included with our premium product as well.
Okay, excellent. Let's dive into these questions here, starting with D-Rock. He says, with Denver on a back-to-back 4 and 5 days, could Cousins get a bit more run tonight?
Could who? I miss you.
Cousins.
I mean, that means that Jokic would be limited. So he's only going to play if Jokic is on the bench. And as long as they're in the game, they're going to try to play Jokic's normal minutes. So I mean, he could, but I don't expect anything different than normal.
Okay. M Trap says DK Cash means Curry and Moody or Tybalt and Kyrie.
Curry and Moody or Tybalt and Kyrie. I would probably do the Kyrie one.
DY says in a DK GPP, how do you make your lineup unique on such a short slate without going overboard on too many low-owned players in your lineup? I feel like you explained this really well, especially on FanDuel, just Xing out dudes that you don't think have the ceiling. High-owned guys that don't have the ceiling, hitting that X button. I don't know. I feel like you've answered that question, but Chief, anything you want to add to that? No.
Not really. I felt like it was pretty clear.
Yeah. No, I thought you did a good job with that. DKGPP, what are the odds of Harden and Embiid both being optimal, Chief?
I mean, I think it's close. I mean, we're gonna need Harden and Embiid to both probably hit 60, and that's possible here. Or one go 58, the other go 70. Like I think that's within the cards tonight in this game. Brooklyn's not playing great defense. I mean, they were up on Charlotte by 30, and Charlotte still came storming back in the fourth. Like this isn't a juggernaut defensive team by any stretch.
When Chief said something earlier, like 5 minutes ago, he said, "And if they both get 100, we definitely win." I wanted to roll my eyes, and then I was like, "Oh, Jokic had 95 3 games ago." So,
yeah.
Not exactly
it's not out of the question. Let's see. Fanduel GPP Beaner says Harden or Durant, Chief.
I'm going Harden.
Okay. Luke Cage means why no core tag on Moody, Meansy?
Just because I think he's equivalent to all the other gross cheap value. I don't think he's a must, but he's in play.
All right. DKGPP, who's your favorite of these low-owned guys? I think I know the answer here. Maxey, Wiggins, Brown, Drummond, and Seth. It's Brown, right?
Brown for me. Yeah.
Brown. DKGPP, do I play Rivers if Highland and Barton are out?
You can. I don't like it, but you can.
Okay. This is a good question. Another DK GPP. Makes sense to have a lot of GPP questions going, I guess, on a 2-gamer here. GD says, is it okay to, sorry, is it okay to have 5 Warriors and the Joker, DK GPP?
No, I can't do 5. Too many.
Okay. All right.
Way too many.
All right. Bad Booby says Monte Morris projection is terrible compared to Dragic on FanDuel. Why do we prefer him?
Oh, if that was me, if that was for cash, it's probably just because I'm higher on him. He's been really good lately, so I'm probably just higher on him than projections. And I mean, for raw points, he's definitely better. And I think we might be. No, I think we're about right on Dragic. I just think I'm higher on Morris. That's, I guess, the best way to answer it.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, Dragic and Harris or Morris and Gordon?
Give me Dragic and Harris, but that's because Aaron Gordon sucks.
All right. Carolina guy, Fanduel single entry. You've got about less than 2 minutes here. Fanduel single entry. Can we do a balance build? And if so, what studs are we getting? Can you do a balance build? Can you avoid a Jokic, a Harden, and Embiid and still have something you like, or no?
No, I don't think so. Because on FanDuel, you're going to play Clay. You got to decide between Curry and Irving, and you got to decide between Embiid and Jokic. Like I don't think you go out trying to play, Kyrie, Bruce Brown, Tobias, Clay, Wiggins. That is not going to work today. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, great. Let's see. Swapping back to the Crunch Time channel here. Less than a minute left. Snuff says FanDuel. You want Seth or Moody? I'll let you both answer because he did not specify cash or GPP. Means?
I'd probably go Moody.
Chief?
Yeah, I'm on side with Measy. The cash savings you get for pretty much a similar score. Definitely playing Moody.
Okay. FanDuel GPPs, Kyrie or Embiid?
Embiid.
Okay. Oh, you looked offended. You looked truly disgusted by that. All right. By the time I say these words, lock will be kind of happening here. Hey, if you are not a member of RotoGrinders, you absolutely should be. You can sign up right now, and you should certainly hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching on the YouTube. We do this every single day, weekends included, every sport. I mean, not every sport. We don't do it for like table tennis, but we're here for you all the way up to lock and through lock. Griffin says, hey, I'm leaving 900 on the table to try to be different in a GPP. Chief, is that a good idea?
Absolutely.
Nice. Excellent. After he was disgusted by the last idea, he approves of this one.
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell people the truth. I'm not gonna baby you. You guys have been around. If you're watching this show, you're trying to make money. We're trying to help you.
We like that, Chief. Chief, you want to plug your prop shop?
Oh, sure. Yeah, get in the prop shop, man. Listen, I can't express how good it is to be in the prop shop when you've got esports starting at 3 a.m., college basketball kicking off from 11 all the way through the middle of the night, golf, NHL, disc golf is there, NASCAR's coming up, baseball is back, which is our number one. I mean, wait till baseball season kicks off. We might go a week and not lose. And I'm not exaggerating. This is the truth, okay?
Yeah.
Because there's so many props available. It's a good time to be in the prop shop, man. Good time. Get in there.
Okay. All right. You guys,
They even got college baseball this year. I've been digging into college baseball pitching. But I did that as a just in case the MLB didn't get going.
Sure.
It was a just in case. I said, let me get ahead because if MLB is not here, I got to get my baseball fixed somewhere. So it's going to be at the collegiate level. But MLB just got it fixed today. Means I'm sure you're glad about that. I sure am glad if nobody else is glad. Man.
Of course I'm glad. That summer would suck with no baseball, man.
Woo, tell me about it. I mean, I would have been betting on Little League World Series.
No,
I understand, Roth. I know what this season means for you.
No,
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm stoked it's back. I would have been cool if it wanted to hold off another week or two, but obviously I want it back. I'm excited. I enjoy doing it, even though it's stressful as hell. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. And we have crunch time for baseball, literally every single day, 7 days a week, weekends included. With that, I think we are going to get on out of here. So for Means, for Chief, and for Devin, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.